Hey, Scott Hamilton here. Going to do a little video about what the pelvis does for you golf fans out there at Golf WRX. The one thing that I've learned, I've got a guy that works with me, Mike Granado, in Cartersville, and we got a Gears 3D. And, you know, luckily I teach a bunch of tour guys, and we've had like 99% or 95% of my tour guys on the 3D now. So what we like to look at is we like to look at what all these guys do the same. They look different, but what's the common things that all the guys do? And that's really what helps me with my teaching. Then you can kind of pick out the outlier when they jump in there and they're struggling. So I think the biggest thing that I've learned in the last year, along with Mike's help, is kind of what the pelvis really does in the golf swing. Because, you know, and like a lot of guys, I thought the pelvis was way more flat and you kind of turned back and went forward. But really what happens on the golf swing is that the trail side hip, this hip increases on the backswing. We call that, like in our studio, when that trail side hip increases and straightens, it straightens the spine up a little bit. You're in a downhill position right here because the lead hip is lower than the trail side hip. In transition, you push out on the lead leg, and then down around the hip, you push out of the ground. For so long, I was more, and you know, where I thought the hip stayed more level and you turn back but turn forward. Now that I've messed around with it, you can't generate the pressure. It's whenever the trail side hip gets up and the lead hip gets down that you have the ground, because you're like this with the lower lead side hip, that you can push out on top of your lead foot and push out of the ground. So there's three forces in the golf swing: ground forces. There's horizontal, which happens first; torque, that's you resisting the ground; and then vertical. And we want that vertical aspect to line up really close to the impact. That's where there's a lot of power. A guy like Justin Thomas that pushes out of the ground and hammers it just at the right time has a lot of vertical force. So when I get somebody in and they're having pelvis issues, and really this is where I kind of start when I'm helping a guy with his golf swings, I'll start with a pelvis. I'll just get a lob wedge out, and I mean, we're going to hit them 30 yards here. When I start with, even with really good players, we'll swing it up, feel like the trail side hip gets higher, push out on the lead leg, and then push out of the ground. So it's just a little, we'll just get the lob wedge out, just little shots like that to make the pelvis do the right thing, and the rest of it normally fall in line after that.